Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Wei Cui. I'm from Shanghai, China. Don't worry, relax, be relaxed. I'm harmless. Yeah, so today I'm going to share what we have done in the past 4.5 years of developing a super one-on-one tutoring system for the K-12 students in China. So first, I would like to give you some background of how the Chinese education system works and what is the Chinese education market look like. So many of you knows that the largest education companies in the world are the publishers, including the Pearson, Michael, AMLD, etc. However, you know that probably don't know that the biggest education companies in China are not publishers. None of them are publishers. All of those big education companies in China are doing the after-school tutoring business, which are like this. The top 5 are leads. Maybe you know some of them, like the New Oriental, the Tomorrow Advancing Life. And just let you know that the Tomorrow Advancing Life is the biggest education company in China and also in the world. And also the online education, the Shui Da education, and the GRE education. However, the education market in China is very segmented. From this, you can see that the top 5 education companies in China only represent less than 5% of the market. So what's the reason? The reason is that the quality teacher is in shortage in China. So from these numbers, from these figures, you know, we found that there are too many students, K-12 students in China, and there are too few teachers in China, and not even to say the high quality teachers. You know that the high quality teachers, the expert teacher is 1 in 1,000. It's 1 in 1,000. It's very hard to cultivate such expert teachers. So this brings several disadvantages in education. Probably it is in the others similar in the other countries. So learning efficiency are pretty low. So because the high performing student they can learn faster, but the low performance students they could not catch up with the classmates in the same classroom, and also the learning effectiveness could not be guaranteed. Just from the figures you can find out the high quality teachers are lacking. So we know that the high quality teachers mostly are living in the tier 1 cities, are living in the better cities. So you know that most of the cities in China are below tier 1 cities. So most of the cities are lacking high quality teachers. And also in the traditional classroom, the lifelong learning capabilities are not taught because the teachers are so super busy. So this is the traditional teaching look like. So it is a linear teaching. Everyone study the same contents, study in a linear approach. So everyone study in the same sequence, doing the same homework. And this is one of the most famous TED Talk by a British educationer. And he said that everyone is different and everyone has tremendous talents. You can find the full video from the TED. So what are we doing? So we are trying to use the AI to help those poor students who live in the remote cities in China. And we know that from the last talk, we can find that the AI has many benefits to the education and like the perceptive AI tutor. So what we are doing is we are not using the natural language processing, not using the computer vision techniques. So we are using the classic machine learning techniques and other techniques in education and also in cognitive science, etc., to design such AI-powered tutoring system to provide the personalized education. So the aim is like this. So the target knowledge graph is the full knowledge graph, and the top left is the knowledge state of some students. So we are trying to fill in those knowledge gap of the students, of each student, because everyone has different knowledge state. So we are developing a very complicated system we call it a complete system because we have covered the learning system, the learning management system, the intelligent recommendation engine, and also the content management system, the customer relationship management system, etc. So it's like the iOS. So we create our own contents. We have a content repository, so that we ensure the content is matching with our algorithm, so that make our system is most efficient and effective. So the first, we have 3 layers of our system. So this is the full architecture. And the first layer, I would like to call it the memory unit of the brain, if the whole system is the brain. So because the first layer contains the ontology, including the content ontology and also the learning map, the mistake reasoning ontology, and also the dynamic goals. So we have 2 knowledge graphs. One is the hierarchical knowledge graph, and the second is the prerequisite knowledge graph, represents the connections between different knowledge components, and they are just like the directed acyclic graph. If you know the graph theory. And the second layer is the interactive. We call it the interface. It's like the ear, mouth, and eye of the brain because it interacts with the students, because it contains the learning management system. So we have a content repository. So we create all the contents ourselves, including all the videos explaining each knowledge component. And in our learning setting, so every student is facing a computer and has a headphone, and he can study by themselves without any intervention from the human teachers. Because in our classroom, in our learning setting, we have 2 super teachers. One is the human teacher, the other is the AI teacher. So the system, is a software. It's like the AI teacher because it can provide the most personalized learning solutions for each student according to his learning situation, according to his knowledge stage. So we also have the learning centers for those students. So because in China, the after-school tutoring, this market is the biggest market, and the Chinese education is very, very competitive. If you are coming from China, if you have ever been to China, probably you know about this. And probably if you are from America, you have ever been to Japan or Eastern Asia, probably you know Kumon. Kumon is one of the biggest franchised education companies in the world. It has over 20,000 learning centers across the world, and it has about 2,000 learning centers in the US, and it has made revenue about $600 million US last year in the US. So currently we have about this is the old number, currently it's updated. So currently we have 2,700 learning centers across about 6 different cities in China, and currently there are nearly about 2 million students. And this is the four main functionalities are these. So first we do initial diagnosis of the student knowledge because we need to understand the knowledge gap of each student, the learning situation of each student. And then during the learning process, we keep evaluate the student's knowledge state at real time so that we can better understand the student. So what we do is we collect the students' learning data and behavior data. We use some statistical models and machine learning models to predict the students' current existing knowledge state. And then we understand the students better. And based on the student's profile, we can provide a personalized solution for each student. So what are we going to do? So we provide the personalized learning path for each student. For example, if the student have 20 or 30 weaknesses, knowledge component to study, so what's the best sequence for the students to study in order to achieve the optimal learning effectiveness? So we optimize the learning sequence, learning paths for each student. And second, we recommend the most suitable learning contents for each student. So, which means that what to study, what to learn, and how to learn. So our AI technology solve these 2 problems. So this slide shows that how we diagnose the students' knowledge state. So actually, in our system, we use adaptive assessment. Probably you have taken GRE, probably you know that the GRE is adaptive assessment, but our adaptive assessment is much more complicated than the GRE system because the GRE only gives you the final score based on its adaptive assessment. Because when you answer the question, we don't know the next question. Only if you answer the last question, and the system will recommend the next question to you. And every student answers the different amount of questions, take different time for the adaptive assessment. So in our system, we not only knows the final score of the students, we knows the weaknesses in the knowledge state of each student. For example, this is a report after the adaptive assessment, so we know the weaknesses of each student, and there are 100 different there are 100 knowledge components for one physics topic, and from this we know that the yellow ones represent the weakness of the students' knowledge, and the blue ones represent the knowledge component has already been mastered by the student. So different students have different knowledge state. From this, we can know that although the three students have the same mastery rate, 80%, but their knowledge state are totally different from each other. So what we are going to do after the initial diagnosis assessment, so we provide the personalized learning path for each student. For example, this is the first student. He's probably a high-performing student because he has a few weaknesses to study. This is the medium-performing student, and then we can see that this is a low-performing student because he has made too many weaknesses to study. So whether this student is low-performing or high-performing, our system will provide the most optimal learning path for different students. It's a non-linear study, so every student will spend a different amount of time for different knowledge component. We answer different amount of questions for studying each knowledge component, and so the time spent on different knowledge component for different students are different. So everyone can study at their own paces. So we provide our system use the AI to provide the personalized education to each student. So the second layer, we call it the computing unit of the brain because it contains the recommendation engine and the user state evaluation engine, the real-time classifier and predictor. Yeah. So this is the five main parts of our recommendation engine. This is the core of our system. So so these two are the main parts of our system, and the other three are ongoing research projects. So due to the time limited, I just explained the three ongoing research work, and these are two details. Yeah, so this is the virtual teacher system. It's like the chatbot. This is the intelligent feedback system. So in our system, because the students spend most of the time starting using our system, because the system is in the cloud and we collect the students' learning data at real time, we can collect all the data from the student. So, and also we collect the feedback from the student. The students can give us the imprecise recommendation of our system, which means that, so for example, if our system diagnosed the knowledge component is a weakness for that student, but the student could tell us through text or through audio that that knowledge component has already been mastered by him, so that we receive that feedback. After the feedback has been accumulated, our system can adjust the parameters of our algorithms, which means that without a large amount of data, we can evolve our algorithm, we can evolve our machine learning algorithm effectively. Yeah. So this can solve we know that the deep learning algorithm relies heavily on big amount of data, and this work has been cooperated with the CMU. And the last one is the multi-modal integrated behavior analysis. I think this one has been explained by the last speaker, so I won't explain it. So we have cooperated with many top research institutes, like the CMU, with Tom Mitchell has been our chief AI officer, and we have collaborated with Stanford Research Institute, and we have published papers in KDD, EJCI, AR, SSCDU, ED, And I would like to talk about the efficacy studies. One of the big outcomes of those academic studies written by us is about the efficacy study. So in China, we have conducted many experiments to evaluate the effectiveness and efficacy of our system. So I would like to talk in detail in two of these. So this paper has been published in AERA, the biggest academic conference in education. And every year there are about more than 10,000 attendees in this conference. So we have design experiment collaborated with SRI. So we have two groups. One is the experimental group, and the other is the control group. So we ensure the performance level are the same of these two groups, and we divide them equally. And one group, the experimental group, will study using through our system. In the control group, they are taught by the human teachers. So we have pre-test and post-test to examine their performance after starting, to compare their performance. So I can show you the results directly. So the students taught by the human teachers, this is the pre-test, and this is the post-test. This is the score improvement. This is the score improvement by the machine teacher. So we can see that is the increase is significant. Yeah, this is another experiment. It is similar, but one is one teacher on 20 to 25 students, and the other experiment is one student or one teacher on 3 students at the same time. Yeah. So, although not everyone believes that the machine can outperform the human teachers, but we think that if we use the system more often, and we can collect more data, and then we can make the system more intelligent. There is no other short way. So this is the one case. So we have been to a remote city, a very poor village in China. So this just to give you a sense. So why this system is helpful in China? I know that probably not everyone believes that this is the true AI-powered system. But I don't care whether you believe or not. But I believe that this system, we use the machine learning techniques, has truly helped those students in China. Because do you know how many K-12 students in China? Just give you a figure. So there are about 200 million K-12 students in China. So most of the students live in below tier 1 cities, so who could not receive high quality education, just like this family. The family is very, very poor, and this is the grade 6 students' performance. So we can find from here, most of their knowledge are weaknesses. So the students haven't mastered those knowledge component. And we did a test. So these students are below average. They performed lower than the grade 4 students in the town, who live in the town. These grade 6 students are living in the villages. So what we are doing, our system will provide personalized education, and we do not let the students study grade 6 knowledge first. We let them to study grade 4 knowledge first, because we can trace back. This is the root reason for their weaknesses in the grade 6. So this is how our system recommends the optimal learning path for the students. So after learning 1 month for the summer, there's no intervention from the human teachers, because from the preliminary schools, the teachers are in shortage. For the past 4 or 5 years, the class has been changed about 7 to 8 teachers. So the performance the mastery rate has increased from 56 to 89% in 1 month. Yeah, so there are many cases, just skip it due to the time. So we believe that in the future, so the AI teacher and the human teacher will coexist in the classroom, and they will have different tasks. The AI teacher we are responsible for the content mastery, the content delivery, and the human teacher will be responsible for the critical thinking, the problem solving, the collaboration, effective communication, self-directed learning, academic mindset, etc. Yeah, so I want to explain this. So we not only teach the students knowledge, we also teach the students how to think, because what we teach the mode of thinking, the methodologies, and also the capacity. Yeah, our platform is open and our data is open. We have collected around 2 million students learning data, and I hope that more and more interested experts could join us to research on this data, because we believe that there is multidisciplinary research. We invite experts from cognitive science, from education perspective, from computer science, from the other discipline. Yeah, so this is my talk today. Thank you very much.